So thank you, all of you, for joining me on the stage of chess. Some people could say, gosh, how brilliant they are to have timed the revival, the major revival of chess, to come right now, because Cold War, Cold War. Are you just brilliant? Did you see this coming, gentlemen?
Oh, yes. But we weren't as brilliant the first time
No.
around because Gorbachev put an end to the Cold War just as we released chess.
No, it's worked. I mean, the point of the piece, we like to think, isn't the Cold War. That's the background. It's love stories set against the background of chess match and the Cold War. But it's a period piece. It's set in 1980, 79, 80, that era. So it's going back nearly 40 years.
Sorry, Benny.
We are old.
Older. I think the phrase is older. So who do you think this is going to speak to? You say it's a period piece. I mean, there are a lot of us that are totally enamoured of the 80s and know a lot about the era because we were all very much around in that era. Who are we speaking to today in the era of Putin, actually?
Hopefully the audience.
Yes, people who like a good words and music, really,
Yeah.
and a plot. I mean, you don't really know who you're going to. I mean, you aren't writing it for anybody particularly. You're writing it for yourselves, and you hope other people will like it because you've written something that you meant to write, something that you believe in.
Can you all remember 30 odd years ago where you were at, sort of your frame of mind, if you like, when you embarked on chess?
Yeah, well,
Benny?
Yeah.
We've been talking about, Bjorn and I, for quite a long time that we would like to do something else. Get outside the framework of the 4-minute pop songs. Doing something that would be a challenge. And the theatre seemed to be perfect for that. So we talked about it. And then one day Tim Rice showed up at our doorstep and said, I have this idea. And we said, yes, let's do that, because we knew about Tim. We bought the record Jesus Christ Superstar 45, 50 years ago, and we loved that. So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so I think we were looking for someone, for guidance almost, because we were attracted by that world, drama and music, and who knew it better than Tim Rice? I mean,
well, there were quite a few.
Evita and Jesus Christ Superstar and all of that.
But
so, when he was interested.
And you've gone on to do a lot more in that area.
Yeah.
So it's not just chess.
And our first attempt actually was with ABBA in something called The Girl with the Golden Hair, which kind of an attempt in a small way in that
musical.
Yes.
Not enough.
No.
And wasn't Thank You in the Music?
Yeah,
Thank You for the Music part of that.
Yes, that was part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for you as well, Tim, and this is a very important moment in your career as well, wasn't it? It was one of the first solo projects for you.
Well, it obviously isn't a solo project in the sense that I teamed up with Bjorn and Benny, but yes, it was really. It was. I mean, I had this idea which was a bit wacky, really, and I, talked to one or two people in England about it, but nobody seemed very interested. But as soon as I heard that Bjorn and Benny wanted to move into other directions, I got in touch, and luckily they were enthusiastic.
And we like him.
You like him?
Even after 40 years, yes.
And it was kind of interesting with the background, the Cold War background, because we were kind of closer to the Soviet Union than the UK. It was very, very real to us.
And we taught Tim to ice skate.
Yes, that too.
Well, sort of.
Are there any changes to reflect this revival here in 2018?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
This is based on the concert version we made when we launched the record, when we released the record. Added with some scenes from the original version. So it's not so much spoken dialogue.
There's a little spoken dialogue.
Yes.
There are one or two songs that, over the years, like Someone Else's Story, and like He Is a Man, He Is a Child, which have happened during the process in the last 30 years. And if they work well, we've kept them in. And one or two like that have worked well.
Is it easy to collaborate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yes.
Yes. Same sense of humour and roughly, and you know, we get along.
I think I'm secretly Scandinavian.
You look secretly Scandinavian.
Yes. You look Norwegian, actually.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Oh, Norwegian,
Sure,
fine. Okay.
Irish.
Is there any risk involved in revisiting something that is actually so loved by people? I think it's been voted one of the most popular musicals in Britain of the last few decades. It's precious to a lot of people in that form, isn't it, from all those decades ago?
But this is going to be wonderful because it's a marvelous orchestra. John Rigby, the conductor, is great. The cast is great. The sound men are one of a kind, and they're really, really good. So I've been sitting here listening to the songs played out here, and yeah, I'd say it's really, really, it's a joy.
How does it affect you hearing your songs all these years later in a revival like this? The words you wrote?
Well, I think if they're sung well, it's thrilling. And this cast we have, these wonderful singers and actors, they're doing it as well as we could hope for. So that's great.
Do you also think we're all a bit nostalgic right now for some reason?
Because of Brexit or what?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we're all asking ourselves this question because, you know, we're all going and, you know, there's 80s revivals and, you know, Strictly Ballroom's back on a West End stage and we're lapping it all up.
Well, these are, you know, dangerous times and difficult times. And people get nostalgic very often when that happens. So maybe you're right. I don't know.
I think you'll find if you did thorough research on it, not you personally, but if one did, that there's always revivals. Things are always being revived. And it's usually the shows that did quite well first time round or did very well first time round. I don't think there's any more revivals now than there used to be, but the difference maybe is that thanks largely to the great success of Mamma Mia, people have brought pop songs, or songs that have been hits on the pop charts or the rock charts, and put them into shows. That's a new feature, or comparatively new. It's not that new now, but it's something that's happened in the last 20 years.
It'll be 20 years old next year, that idea.
Wow.
And it's all about the songs, isn't it? Because they've got to be good in the first place before you even think about putting them on the stage. Presumably, the album was released first, wasn't it, for Chess?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
For us to know what we were up to, what we were doing, to get a grip on it before it ended up on stage, yes.
And what was the initial reaction?
For the record?
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
It was great.
Yeah.
Number one single with One Night in Bangkok, for instance.
I know him so well.
Yes.
Yeah, we sold millions of copies all around the world.
Yes.
I mean, we had a big hit in America with One Night in Bangkok, but not a lot of people realized it was from the show. It was just because it was
just a song,
a great record. Or people thought it was. But it's very good if you're writing a fairly massive project. It's quite good to concentrate purely on the work itself without worrying in the first instance about how do we put this on stage, who's going to direct it, where do we get the orchestra from, what theatre. All these things are very important. But I think to start off with, you want to try and get the basic work right as you can.
And what about taking it to Broadway? Because it didn't go down too well first time around, did it?
No, it didn't.
Jeez.
It didn't. I don't know why. I think it had to do with a very bad review in the New York Times. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't good, but it wasn't that bad.
No.
I think it was changed in the wrong way. We were all involved with it. We all made the mistakes. But I think in retrospect, we should have stuck with what we had. We kind of thought, you know, that maybe for a Broadway audience and for the changing times, we needed to change it, but that was wrong.
This here is the closest
we've gone back
we've gone to the record, to the original record.
Yeah.
So yeah, I look forward to.
That was a conscious decision, presumably.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, yes, because it's always worked at its best, I think, as a concert.
But it's also to have everyone on stage, the whole orchestra up here. You know, it gives you another, I don't know, something. This is, for me, I mean, it is about music. A musical should be about music and lyrics. But when you see the music as well as hear it, I think, yeah, adds value.
Looking at yourselves now as writers, how would you, what have you noticed in each other perhaps that is the dramatic change from the, you know, all 3 decades ago when you came up with this idea about a Cold War chess game and you sat down together? How do you think you've changed as artists in all that time?
Have you ever been an artist, Tim?
Well, I don't know.
Artists?
I'm not an artist.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it's difficult to analyse yourself, whether you got better or worse or whatever. But we've both done an awful lot since we first did chess, or all three of us have done a lot.
Yes.
So it's up to other people to decide that, really.
Yes.
We're still good.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think with age you get more daring, you have more freedom and more experience and wisdom, hopefully. All of that helps.
So we might see chess possibly on Broadway. Is that a possible?
I don't know. We
don't
see.
know.
Let's start with seeing it here.
Where do you think musical theatre is at the moment? Because lots of people have been analysing it. Hamilton came along and blew everyone out of the water and kind of rewrote the book. And some people are saying, look at the stuff that's happening over in America. Where do you think we are over here compared to all the radical stuff that's happening over there? Are we good, in a good place, would you say? I mean, with all your vast experience, Tim?
Well, I think the performances, the way the musicals are done over here is just as good as it is in America. The actors, the dancers, the singers, the musicians. Maybe there's a slight shortage, and I can only speak for Britain, I can't speak for Sweden.
Probably can.
Maybe there aren't quite so many new British musicals doing incredibly well, but there are some great ones around, you know, which I mean, there's some great writers around, and it's just almost impossible to predict. I mean, there's an awful lot of luck in it, sometimes by chance. You know, there are several musicals that work at once on Broadway, or several that work at once here. I think you can overanalyze the trends, but Broadway and the West End, they feed in a nice way on each other, and I think Hamilton coming over here can only be good for British musicals.
Do you think you could write another new one together?
I think
Have you got 30 years spare?
I don't think so.
Why not?
It's a huge task. I mean, it takes years.
It is massive, it does.
It takes years. And no.
You've got this tour coming up. I could write something with the avatars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't call them avatars. It's terrible.
Oh, sorry.
I thought it was. We wondered whether you'd come up with this. That sounded rather clever.
He is clever.
No, I didn't come. I read that somewhere.
You read that. People have been saying that for ages.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's an offer, isn't it, from Tim?
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
I had a text from Bryn Tervel saying, if you need a bass singer.
Oh, really?
That's perfect. I said, yeah.
Well, I know that you're a huge ABBA fan, Tim. So,
I quite like them, yes.
you know, when the news came out here last Friday, the world seemed, I'm not exaggerating, the world seemed to stop and swoon and sigh. I mean, were you just taken aback at the reaction?
Yes. I mean,
well, you don't know things like
this. No.
We just wanted to make this announcement because there's a television show coming up for Christmas or before Christmas, and the NBC wanted to make an announcement. We said, well, come on, we've done something here. We should announce that we've done something here. We recorded 2 songs in June last year. They're pretty good, you know, and so we just wanted to say, we've done this, it'll come out sometime in the autumn, and that's it. And no expectations.
Really
no expectations at all.
No.
You must have had people talking to you about it over the years then.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Of course they
yes,
do.
of course.
Yeah.
But, you know, you never know these things, how the reactions will be and how big they will be. But I was, you know, overwhelmed, really. And it seems to be very positive, which is wonderful.
Of course it's possible. It must make you feel really proud, though you must have felt proud before. I mean, to still, all these years down, this impact that ABBA still has.
It's amazing, and
Yes.
nobody really knows why.
Well, you're a fan, Tim, you know
Well,
why.
I mean, I was not surprised at the interest, because these guys and Frida and Agnetha
the
are...
girls.
Yeah,
Or the women,
well, no,
yes.
all 4. It's just a magic combination. I mean, it's like the Beatles or Elvis. It's something that hadn't been done before. and yet it's been done within the tradition of popular music, great popular music, which will be around forever.
I know you.
Can I have that in writing? Yes, yeah.
Except possibly 1 or 2 tracks on the first album.
Yes.
You can't say that.
Dum dum diddle.
You keep coming back to them.
Yes.
But you wrote 2 songs. Was it really like rolling back the years when you were all in that studio together? Because that's the statement.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I am, for one, constantly working. Writing music, Bjorn is writing, we do things together. We've been doing so for 30 years. You don't know about it because we stay home. We do it sort of for the local market, but it's constantly working, absolutely. So it was no big deal to do it. We just said, let's try and see how good we can be, you know, and let's record it and see what happens. So we shall see. I don't know. We didn't know at the time when it happened then if it was going to work or not. So why would we now?
No.
We just think it's pretty good stuff. We'll see.
But I remember I had this moment in the studio when there were the 4 of us plus a sound engineer, and I was looking, you know. I remember this. This is so familiar.
Yeah, but the funny thing is,
you know?
it's really like it says in the press release that it was like yesterday.
Yes.
And we all 4 felt like that it was like yesterday. Although it was 35 years ago, we were in the same studio. Especially for the girls. We've been in the studio together, but not with them.
No.
And they haven't been in this situation. And it was quite marvelous, actually. So.
And it does something to you when you've had those experiences together. And I don't mean just the first 10 years, but all the way after that, you know. It does something to you, bonds.
It's interesting to hear how deeply you're affected, and we as fans, we continue to be so deeply affected by it. It felt so good to be in the studio, you and the girls. You've recorded 2 songs. Didn't it whet your appetite to do some more?
Oh yes, but we shall see. I don't think so though. This is done for this digital version of ourselves coming up next year. So we thought we should add a couple of songs to that, not just play old songs. So that's really why we did it.
But it was nice writing
it. It was fun, yeah.
Yeah, and recording it.
It was extremely joyful.
Yes.
Yeah. Classic ABBA?
Classic?
That too, yes. And unexpected ABBA and classic.
No, I don't know. We'll see. You tell us if you like it when you hear it, you know?
Yeah.
So, but you're sending your holograms on tour.
It's not hologram.
Well,
we don't know what it is really.
But we're not allowed to call them avatars.
Well, Tim can call them avatars if you like. I don't want to.
It's quite clever, I thought.
Because we don't know, A little too clever, isn't it?
Wouldn't it be just easy for you to go do it as human beings together, you know, on tour?
No. Have you ever been on tour?
It's a hard life. It's, no.
But being in the studio is wonderful.
Only in a little way,
it's
but
controlled
I wouldn't
area.
want to do it now.
You take your own time, as long as you like, until everyone's happy. You know, that's sweeter.
But a stage is a different thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got Chess first, and then Mamma Mia 2, and then I mean it's all about the songwriters this year, isn't it? Really? So
it's the songwriters' year this year. Yeah.
Great.
It's going to take up all of
your...
your...
Is there a songwriters' day? Like there's a cinnamon bun day in Sweden.
Cinnamon bun day?
Yeah.
Is that just in Sweden?
Yeah.
It hasn't caught on here.
Should be a songwriters' day.
Songwriters' day.
Yeah.
There's another musical for you. Thank you so much,
thank
gentlemen.
you.
That was brilliant.
You.
Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.